Hey all, welcome back to another episode of the GGHL season preview podcast. We're going to go through the Western Conference today, and you tell us what we preview the season for these Western Conference teams.
Yep. Slightly different cast than the Eastern Conference, but should
What
be
up, what
fun.
up?
All right, so first we're going to do the Avalanche, and the Avalanche lost in the Stanley Cup final to the year Montreal Canadiens, and we had to put it in there. Last year they had 129 points. Were top five team in offense, defense, and net minding, and just were the horse to beat, I suppose. Last year, and then this year it's been a bit more of a rocky start, to say the least.
You could blame Garen Bauman for that.
They have triplets.
Are we,
Yeah,
are
they
we
got-
just gonna walk past the rocky start for the Avs here? I like that.
Oh my god.
Was that
You-
intended, Drew?
I plead the fifth.
Fuck you. Fucking Garen Bauman. Yeah, I mean, you can blame their start a lot on the fact that this guy is an 850.
Yep.
Well, now hold on.
Not real.
Both of my starters had an 850. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, the thing with Colorado is they're obviously worse than they were last year. They lost Turcotte,
Yeah.
and don't really have a replacement, and they lost.
Their third line center right now isn't even a real center.
It's Pampane, right?
Yeah,
now?
it's Pampane.
Winger
Yeah, he's a winger.
with 20 faceoffs though.
Says finesse
Yeah,
center. is-
Non-natural centers just don't play.
Yeah, he's at a
He's
20
low-con.
faceoff percent.
He's a Leonov type of center because his highlight key attributes preferred is finesse center, but
Yes.
not natural.
That's strange.
What?
Leonov's the lightweight.
Yeah, it just happens sometimes. He's low con too. Pampane is, so he's not working at center. But
Yeah.
obviously they still have McTavish, Suomela 1-2, and that is sexy.
Now,
Like I love that.
McTavish just came back, right? He was on IR for a little bit.
He was
True,
on
that
IR.
too. So yeah, you can
McTavish
see a
has
team
played
like this. and be
9
like,
games.
"Okay." Oh,
Yeah.
He's 10 points in 9
Okay, I
games.
don't
He's done well. Dude.
never mind.
Also, $5 million for Mace McTavish. I'm sorry, but that
This
sounds
contract
illegal.
is wicked. Yeah, they got a lot of nice contracts on this team. Newens is still only getting like sub 1 mil, and he puts up numbers. So
That's a shout out to Chris. Old
Yeah.
Steady did a great job with that team for a long time, and we'll see if that continues.
yeah, I mean, realistically, this team has a couple more years in them. I figure they're gonna pick up a center at some point, like at the deadline, just some center, to make like a 3C realistically. You don't have to get a Turcotte. That's gonna be hard to get,
Well,
but
the problem with a 3C is those guys are that line is traditionally your match line. So you're either going to pick up a top 6C and move one of those guys to 3C to match with, or you've got to get a top 6C to put at your 3C. So
yeah,
with the limited assets, we'll see.
there are no prospects on this team. Yeah,
Nope.
one of the fucking
Yeah.
Baumans is on their top fucking prospects. That's how you know it's bad. The one playing backup for them. I just want to give a shout out to Justin Bartlett on this roster for being maybe the worst player I've ever seen get an NHL contract.
Yeah, he's like, wow.
It's all ones.
Keller's back, baby.
Hell yeah. I expect him to like make moves during the season though. Like there's no shot he's like, yes, my backup will be a Bauman and I don't have a 3C.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
he
said
gotta
he's
have
gonna wait till
future
game
picks.
start to make moves.
Yeah, which makes sense. Like, see what you got
Yeah,
in a couple
for
guys.
sure.
Pampane is a fake center. He's learned that. I mean,
Hopefully.
well, he's a fucking 6.11 with 2 points. You better have learned that.
Hey, come on.
He's-
I gave Rico Peter a fair run. He might try the same.
Rico Peters a way better center than this guy, and that's not being nice to Rico Peter. Yeah, this team's defense, for what it's worth, is still really fucking good. Like I I really like their defense. I like their wingers. They're all fucking fantastic. It's
Aside
just
from the Turcotte move, what else has Keller done with that team?
not much. Signed all the Bowmans. He missed a bunch of free agents, I believe. And from last season, the main losses were
Segafredo.
Turcotte,
Turcotte, sure.
Segafredo,
Yep.
and a backup goalie like Hamrack. So
Hamrick, yeah.
So the team should be top 3. They should
still,
win their
I think they'll
division.
probably still win the Central, to be honest.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I mean, you see the Central right now. I'm not staying at the top of the Central. That's fake. That's not real.
Yeah, it's a little early for an early season, right? Like December, right? Is usually where we should
Yes.
do this, but this is supposed to be like a season prediction. So.
Yeah, this is more like a preview thing. So Colorado will not stay where they are. They'll probably still win the division. They'll probably still go to the conference finals at the very least.
I would
Game-
expect that.
game crash.
Barring a Poikinen injury, rip.
Did it
Yeah.
crash? Does it just take
It
forever?
crashed on save.
It crashed on save.
Oh fuck.
Lord, let the save have stuck.
Yeah. I
What the
mean,
hell?
yeah, the only thing that would really fuck the Avs over is a Poikinen injury because
Exactly.
the second
They
one
have
of
no
those
backup.
Bowmans is
What?
playing, oh,
Who is
Yeah,
clicking
they're,
on the VNC right now? Someone's trying to start a new
Not-
network game.
not me. I'm on mobile.
I'm not. I haven't downloaded VNC yet, honestly.
Yeah, Drew's been busy of late.
Top tier admin
Ugh.
Drew.
School or whatever.
The save did not take.
Yeah.
The last save is 11 minutes old.
Oh, tough. Yeah, Drew's busy like getting an education, like some sort of loser. Cringe.
Well, hey, without Drew's education, would we have advanced GGHL stats?
That's true, actually.
Shout out, Angry Canadian. We appreciate all the work you do. Also,
Yeah, I love the point shares. They're cool too. But I like these. You know what? I think I just like Tableau. Anyway.
Tableau's
Yeah,
great.
the Avs are fine. The Avs are fine. To
Tableau's
replace
fine.
Turcotte at the deadline, you're fine.
well, yeah. I mean, it depends on what teams are willing to move and what assets they're willing to give up, right? Like if they're willing to dip 20, 39, 20, 40, 20, 41 seconds, right? Like 3
Right.
seconds for a decent top 6 bum, right? Like he doesn't have to be icon. He doesn't have to be awesome. He doesn't have to be 28. You're looking for a guy who's like 32, 33, can produce points,
It
and then
doesn't
move
have to
one
be.
of those top 6 guys down.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a Turcotte level player. Realistically,
for
it's
sure.
not going to be your Turcotte level player.
Um,
But
Exactly.
Any chance that Niederbach could just fit in on that third line? Because he's currently playing 4C right now.
maybe,
Yeah, maybe.
and then
Yeah.
you can pick up a 4C.
And
Like the
that's a lot
thing with
easier to
Niederbach
do.
is he never played. Like he looks like he should be better than he is. He never performs like I want him to. Looking
If there
at
was
his
any
acts and all
team
that
to
shit.
make random magic happen from a random center, it would be
It's
the
Keller.
Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
so yeah,
I suppose
the
that's the
thing.
thing too. They'll experiment. They've been experimenting with Pampanay at sea.
Okay.
it's Keller versus
That's true.
Chris
Right.
there at that point. So
Might as well experiment a bit. They like there were no Turcotte replacements available. Is the thing realistically in UFA? Who would it have been? Right, there just weren't any.
Did it break for me again? God damn it.
Classic. Yeah, no, the Avs should be fine.
This should be fine. From the previous Western royalty to the current Western royalty, the LA Kings.
Okay. I can't do
my.
login as all. Someone else has to do it. I'm broken again.
I'll help out
I'll
with
do
that in a
it. I'll
sec.
do it.
All right, you got it. So last year I have the LA Kings at a 124 point team, second in offense, second in defense, 14th in net minding actually, with Carter
Yeah.
Hart taking a step back last year.
Yep, but now they got Havlet, who is better. All right. Yeah,
So-
I mean the Kings are stacked, right?
they're 47 goals for and 14 goals against.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty
yeah,
solid
Havlet
differential.
is goated. But
Havley's
that
at a
is
950
insane.
right now.
Yeah, no, even if that doesn't hold up, dude, even if you had 8 more goals let in, you're double your goals, 40 goals against. You're going nuts.
I thought I was
Yeah.
crazy earlier in the season, and then you posted yours, and I was just like, "What the hell did I miss out on?" Right?
Yeah, that team is nuts.
It's very strong. Their biggest weakness last year was goaltending. Obviously, last year, second round exit to the Sharks again.
mean,
but
So
Hart.
now,
I mean, Hart wasn't the reason I lost though. Like he was playing
No.
with like a 925 through the
Yeah.
playoffs.
let's be
Right.
fair. Even if you had Carter Hart again, like Havlet is almost equal, right? Like he's a little bit better, but not by a whole lot. Hart is still awesome. There's a reason Minnesota's
All
one
right,
of the top
ready
4
again.
teams right now. But still, the offense has taken a step. We talked last year about how your team is young; they can grow into this awesome role.
Yeah.
You bought
my
yourself an extra 2-year window with Havlet versus Hart.
my
Yep.
third line, Messenberg, Lucius, and Bourne have been going off. Messenberg is at 2 points per game right now,
That's insane. I love that Bourne addition, by the way.
and then Bourne has 19 points in 10 games.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, the Kings were a contender that added. So obviously
Big.
they're still a contender.
And then
Top contender,
Sullivan
even
is
if the Avs-
continuing his form from last year.
Yep.
Even if the Avs are your Western Conference final opponent, I still think I would bet LA over Avs right now.
I said it on the Eastern preview. That's
ready,
my
Tom.
cup team right now.
Yep.
We're ready.
Yep.
I picked the Kings for cup. Surely they break through at some point, and there really doesn't seem like
You said
a
ready,
better
Moo?
season. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, we got
Did you click finish?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, bet.
and out. And out
Not quite
now.
out yet. Out
Yeah, really great
now.
moves, Joe.
Not
The
now.
FA was great. Like the trades, obviously.
I feel
Helped
like the
you
only
out.
thing
Yeah, the Kings look really good to me.
Yeah,
The
they're my cup pick.
the only thing I think I would need to upgrade is replace Austin for a by a defenseman.
Yeah, buy a good defenseman. That shouldn't even be that expensive, right?
No.
Like that's such a good position to be
Well,
in.
that's my problem is I have like I barely have any picks to pay.
True. Yeah, that's the thing. It shouldn't be that expensive, but you might just have nothing at this
Too
point.
worth
It's
giving.
pretty.
Right.
Yeah. Still though, I love the Kings. I think they're built super fantastic. Them in Florida, they're the same every year. I love both these teams, and every year they lose early. But surely this is the year that LA actually like
Punches
makes
through.
some fucking noise. Yeah, I think this is the year for them.
God damn, I was not expecting 19 points out of Galen Bourne at this point. Not gonna lie, and I had him.
Yeah, he's goal per game. Like what?
Like last year, he was on a like 40 goal pace up until the trade deadline, and like I tried trading him for like a second, and no one was giving me a second for him. So I was like, I'm just gonna hold on to him at that point, and he scratched him.
Well, hey, I mean, you made your cup run, right?
It's true,
Like,
eh? Right.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Cap check is still over a point per game too.
Yeah, capture
Hell
the
yeah.
top line. The top line is playing as expected, but also for some reason the third line is playing better than the
Which
top
match?
line.
Which line is matching for you? Is it your second or third line?
True,
I
actually.
don't
Yeah.
know.
Because if your second line is matching, then your first line is probably playing third, and your third line is probably playing fourth.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe they could just be feasting on fucking fourth lines. Which, yeah, I mean, this line would feast. Messenberg is so killer.
It's hard to
Bourne's
tell
killer.
with your goal differential because you can't just look at plus minus. But if your second line is like +1, +2, and your first and third line are like +6,
Messenberg
that's
is
what's
plus
happening.
Messenberg is plus 12.
Whew.
Lucius is plus 11, and Bourne is plus 11.
I just want to shout out the fact that there's 3 guys on this team with 30 shots already. Okay, great.
Puck control. What's your coach? Is he direct or
He's attractive attacking.
Attractive attacking. That's why you're playing a puck control game.
Sexy. Yeah, this team rules. There's not too much to say, honestly. It just
No,
looks
I think
super good.
You put it
Like,
all together.
yeah, the surely, right? Surely they
this year.
actually.
This year, right? This
I'm
time.
I'm so jaded at this point. I'll believe it when it happens.
That's fair enough.
I've been there.
All right.
right.
So unless they take it, they're up there in there, right? So San
Yeah.
Jose
Um,
up next, right? And last year they were a 121 point team. I have them as third in offense, first in defense, 12th in net mining last year. But they also didn't have Ottinger all of last year.
yes.
So
Yeah,
they
but
did
we
last
started
season.
the season like the first month and a half. We were like top 4 in the net. So
Interesting.
something happened there from like mid-November to January that we just fell apart.
Honestly, the only weakness in San Jose is the GM.
Oh, nice. Grum has left the chat.
No, this team still confuses me a touch because I don't know if I agree with a lot of your offseason moves. Like, I get the theory of like, yeah, we're extending the window, but I think the window was like so open for this year. I really think the Sharks could have just ran it back. Like Rautiala was out for basically the whole Avs series, right?
He was out for the
I
first
think
3 games.
I think he came back on the last game
He
or
came
two.
back for game 4. We won game 1 without him, and it gave us hope. But no, there wasn't anything happening there.
Yeah, he played 6 playoff games last year.
I would have loved to have run it back, but it would have meant like with the cap moves we made, like forget Ottinger, because if he had just walked, we would have been even cap.
Right.
We were at like 80 million with 2 entry level contract guys that had to stick because we would have waived them if we wanted to get to 20 players. We were at 80 million, and that was after dealing Havlid, Urov, De Silva. Like we didn't have the cap.
That makes sense. Okay,
So
that makes sense.
Had to play for the future.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense because I thought you just blew it up on a whim. If it was
No.
because of cap, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, cap restriction. If you search cap restrictions in the trade block, you'll see like we dealt Havlid because of future cap restraints.
Yeah, Havlid is the one that surprises me the most. I know he's a little old, but like he's cheap for a starting goalie. Like for a good starting goalie, Havlid is cheap. He's only like 3.4, right? 4.5.
Now we gave up a first, and we got
3.6.
Havlid, Sova, and Hodorovic for a first, basically, and a couple thirds or whatever else.
Yeah.
We got back a first, second, and 2 prospects for Havlid alone, and we got Celestin and a first for Urov. Okay, no, hold on. Urov wasn't part of that deal. Sova.
The Havlid,
We dealt
Sova
for a first, and Sova led to us getting Ride. So in the end, we got back a second and a couple prospects and Ride. Like, yeah, the trade tree looks a little muddied, but in the end, it's like we have 3 firsts now that we wouldn't have had without trading 1 first for that. So
how many total tradable firsts do you have?
3.
Trade them all for one guy.
Now 2 of them are tied. 2 of them are tied to conditions now that we've traded for Wallstead, and that was kind of the deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, we're getting a guy who can help us win playoff games. He's got high con. He's got big games. Now we have to deal either Hughes or Stenman to make cap to bring him back from LTIR, but that was kind of in the plan anyway, right? Like Stenman is expiring. Hughes is the guy we only want to move so we can give Watcher top 6 role, and get him going, right? Like I want to play him with either Rautiala or Chambers and either Lysell or Schmitz on one of the top lines. Right now we're testing Chambers, Schmitz, Locher on the second line, see how that goes. That's while we have Hughes. I've got a couple of Hughes offers. They're both kind of weak, so it feels like dealing him just to deal him. But we're going to get a first back and a prospect, so
Northeastern kid.
Hell yeah.
yeah, dude, Jack Hughes. I feel like he should have been nommed for the Hart last year because he really did work. I think he scored like 86 points or 88 points.
He scored 64 points last year. Rautiala won Hart last year because he was like 30
right.
points
He was
over.
he almost had 100 points. No, but he was at 8 AVR.
Yeah, Hughes was good, but like
it's hard to tell.
I don't think Hughes was even like close to winning the Hart personally. Like,
yeah, I don't think he was.
Didn't consider nominating him.
Fair, okay, but it's just hard to tell whether it's Hart or Rautiala who's driving that top line, or Hart, Hughes. Which guy is the one who is producing more? It's probably Rautiala because he's the center, but it's hard to tell if I pull Hughes off of that top line, if that first line is going to produce. So I might test that out. I might move either Chambers to top line, or I might move Locher to top line and move Hughes to second line. We'll kind of see where we're at in the next couple sims.
I absolutely love your Rautiala Chambers like center core, so I just think you need to like build on them as much as you can. Like,
yeah, that's kind of the mindset.
Really good.
That's kind of what I'm doing, right? Like Schmitz has never been a top 6 guy. He's been our third line right wing for like 4 seasons. So I want to give him a shot with one of those top 2 centers, and then maybe put Locher on there to see if he can kind of get carried. He's not a defenseman. His bravery is too low. He's not going to get enough done on the defensive side. He needs to be in the offensive zone.
Yeah. Locher is a guy that I really liked when he was a prospect, but he isn't as good as I thought he would be yet.
No, and that's another thing is I want to see like if I can get him an extra couple of techs grown.
Yeah, he's fine, but yeah, I expect him to be like a almost franchise level. I expected a lot of Locher.
He's no star.
Ooh.
Speaking of the Dallas Stars, look at that.
That was a good one. Splash.
All right, so
Nice segue.
Dallas, it was at 113 points last year, which puts them 10th in offense, 14th in defense, 8th in net minding with a 905. Millmore is pretty good, to say the least, right?
As he often has been with them. He's been a 920 at least the whole time. He's killing it.
Yeah, Dallas is like a great team outside of the centers.
Yes, like they're unbelievable except the centers. I'm shocked Wolfram isn't getting an NHL shot this year. At least not yet.
Did he not play
McDermott, the one they're playing is Locon.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He's Ryan O'Reilly regen. He's Locon. So.
I love their winger group so much.
Yeah, their wingers are great. Their defense, I really love it.
They're like stacked on the wings and defense, and they have Othman, who is Roman Yossi, who's going to be really good. Sidlowski looks really good. A prospect on defense. He's only 22. Like they have so much like young elite talent, but none of it is at center. Outside of maybe Wolfram.
Yeah, Wolfram, and I don't think Curry is bad either.
Curry's got low faceoffs though, so I think he's probably gonna end up a winger.
Oh yeah, it's pretty low. I am shocked Wolfram's not in the NHL. I'm very shocked.
Yeah,
he totally could be. Looking at him right now, he's at 8 goals, 8 assists in the NHL. Yeah, probably.
I don't know how you see McDermott and see Wolfram and you pick McDermott.
My scouts only have 3 centers started for them right now. It's probably because of an injury, but they only have Connor, Curry, and McDermott going right now.
Okay.
Like they claimed Johansson off waivers, so he should play.
He's on the wing right now.
I was on the wing.
Interesting. I think that you should totally give Wolfram a shot if you're Dallas. He did good in the playoffs last year. He
I was gonna
really
say he
doesn't
played
need
him in
more
the
AHL
playoffs.
time. Like, I think he's kind of done all he can in the AHL. Even this year, like I was saying, he's goal a game in the AHL. Like,
I like the winger they added in free agency, Madden McMillan on the right side for like
Yeah.
no money. 1.3 million free agency for this. Like that's really good.
yeah, for
We
like a
were
solid
pushed.
complimentary piece.
We were pushed to bring up Chambers and play him on the wing. His first season, we played him like 20 or 30 games on the wing
Yeah.
and did really well. I think maybe you can try the same thing.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
Wolfram
Wolfram on the wing is
McDermott.
definitely not a bad idea either.
A lot of these guys. They picked up Kosior too, and Kosior is like a
Yeah, they
pretty
invested
effective.
a lot in the wings, and I'm just kind of wondering why.
Yeah, Kosior has not been good yet, but he had 52 goals last year, so he just needs to find his groove. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, Koivunen's obviously been pretty effective as a play driver for them. A lot of there. This is a solid team, but
They
I
raped me when I played them.
just don't think their centers are good enough yet. Like Wolfram will be good enough. I think Curry will be good enough, but at this point, they're just not. Like they're
Yeah,
simply not to be a contender, mind you, because I think this is an easy playoff team. Like easy in
yeah,
their sleep.
especially in the West.
Person's
Yeah,
been okay the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, Person's fine. He's like a perfectly adequate player. He's kind of old. That's it. Nothing too crazy with Dallas. It's basically the same story as last year. They look great except for center, but they're really young, so we'll see how it goes.
They also
Yeah.
have legend Don Elmore, enforcer winger.
Hell yeah.
Point a
Oh,
game in the
Sabres
AHL.
icon.
Oh, he's so good. I want Don Elmore, the legend. Of course he's low con. Fucking of course he is.
Ron Elmore's Locan.
Yeah.
Don Elmore is low
So
con.
funny.
Of course he is. I never had that, but of course he is. Never had the snippet.
No, he's the best. I want an enforcer. It would be funny. But yeah,
I
no,
had
like
him.
their wings are crazy, really. Like Sinclair, Koivunen, goddamn, right?
Great
Oh, it just
week.
crashed. Wasn't
There's
even
no
saving. It just
way.
crashed anyway.
Oh shit.
All I
I
did was
doubt it.
click on Sinclair.
Don't click
Speaking
on
of
Sinclair, I guess.
That's kind of funny.
What if that is like actually the last save is still the same last save as it was last time, so nothing has been saved since the last crash.
Perfect. Well, nothing has happened since the last crash other than
Yeah.
us looking at the fucking game. Well, that's perfect. There goes the Dallas Stars.
Dallas Stars. Up next is Winnipeg.
Speaking
Um,
of crashing planes, crashing the Jets.
the Jets, exactly.
Perfect. Incredible.
Last year they're 102 points. Ninth, nope, 17th in offense, 17th in defense, third in goaltending with a 9-10, and that's basically all Wallstead right there.
Wallstead,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, they made a couple swaps. One in the offseason, one like 2 hours ago, or what, 6 hours ago.
I don't think the Jets are very good actually. Like I'm not high on them.
Interesting. I don't love them, but I don't think they're like I think they're easy playoffs. I
Yeah, I
don't
was
think
gonna
they're
say
anything
wild.
special.
I think the question for me is wild card or number 2 seed out of the conference or out of the division.
I think they're
Yeah.
relatively grounded this season.
I think they're like
Yeah.
gonna make the playoffs, but they just don't
Nice.
have like they don't have anything I value. Like their whole team is like, just old, like fading, like mid core guys that are like they just don't have like any way to push.
Well,
Yeah.
and that kind of leads into why they would trade Wallstead for like
Celestin.
a youthful package. Yeah, a younger goalie who maybe is good enough to get him into the playoffs. Couple picks, couple prospects. So
I think they're a downward trajectory team at this point. Like they're gonna need to start like adding some guys through trades, free agency draft, like but focus a little bit more on the future because it just isn't gonna happen.
kind of like they feel like Nashville, only a team that's been right like in that upper echelon, but now they need to find a way to get back into that
Yeah.
top 6, top 4 seed.
Yeah.
They're actually on
I
the
like Wait,
largest hot streak in the league right now with winning their last 5
Yeah, they've got 5 in a row. Yeah.
after going
I like
0-3.
quite a bit in the
How
off season.
how'd Celestin play for them this sim?
I don't think we
It'd
know
be
because I
really
think
cool
the
if we
game's
could
still
look.
Oh, yeah, so he was an 855 for us. I know it was
Yeah.
in a short stint. Like we gave Tierney the start to begin the season because I felt like that was the easier schedule. We had Calgary and maybe it was Anaheim or like he had all 1-goal games and an overtime loss. We lost all 3 games. One of them was in overtime, and the other 2 were 1-goal games. So I felt like we gave him the opportunity to show that he can win a couple of games against easier teams, and he didn't. And then we put in Celestin, and he went even worse save percentage. Like we played the Avs, but we actually played them pretty well. And we played 1 or 2 other teams, and it was just like it was the same thing. So I felt like, okay, why not? Trade for the guy who will give us a shot in the playoffs. And I feel like I gave up half of what I got for Havled, so it made sense. But I feel
Yeah.
like maybe that's like where they're at. It's Celestin could be like that 9-10 guy, get him into the playoffs, and next season retool if you can't extend him.
Yeah.
Do we know if
I-
they have their own first?
Honestly, I don't know that.
That's a good question, actually.
I think they do. I believe so. I don't think they've made any swaps.
They've been a team who doesn't really buy big like that. A lot of their moves come in UFA.
Yeah,
It's true.
they don't make those big trades very often, and I think the fact that a lot of their moves come in UFA has kind of backfired in the last couple of seasons, where the UFA classes have been a little bit weak,
And they
especially.
overpay the fuck out of dudes.
Yeah, I don't mind them paying Mitchkov like 13 million. That's fair.
That's fair.
I think Koivunen was so overpaid, and I think it was really
Not
good of
only
them to
that,
get
but
out
the
of that.
term. Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
they
that's
got
the
out
thing
of it
is
though.
like,
They got
yeah,
fucking Aiden Castle, who is like one of the best
a
turrets to
clone.
ever exist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a clone, right? But he's dying, right? Like, how
He's
long is
all
he going to
yellow
be as good as he
physicals, yeah.
is? Yeah, exactly.
Probably like a couple of years till
Like,
he
yeah,
can't skate
which
the
is
same way.
he's only like 31 or 32. It's crazy.
Yeah, at 33, all of his physicals are yellow. Literally all
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
So he's one of those guys who will fall off young just because of that. But
I
I don't
wonder what his
know.
PA was. His PA must have
I'd be
been low.
curious. Or his fitness, maybe. Like, I don't know.
Maybe.
The thing with Winnipeg is I still take them as a top 3 team in the division. Just because for me it's it's a repeat of last season for top 3. It's going to be Colorado, Dallas, Winnipeg in that order again. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I didn't mention this. San Jose I don't think is going to finish second in the Pacific. Well,
No,
actually,
I don't think so.
well, who else is kind of the thing.
I don't think they'll win it, but I think second is safe.
I think they'll get second safely, actually, just because of how fucking bad the division is.
Even if we deal Jack Hughes.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
You have Chambers Arciala. I ain't
If
counting you out.
Calgary like grossly overperforms the whole season, then maybe. But
No,
I think if Calgary even makes like a wild card, that's
Great
overperforming.
success. Yeah.
I think
realistically.
Calgary is fool's gold. They're fool's gold, right? They're not 7-0-2. Like they're not that good, but they're good enough
just
to be
hot.
second above
Yeah.
us. I think.
Well, interesting. We'll save our discussion on Calgary for a while because that's an interesting one.
They're gonna be in a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Next up is who we got next up?
Arizona Coyotes. I mean, I don't really
Mid.
have much of a segue for.
How? How are they? Where are they
last
at?
year.
Fourth right now?
They're in 7th right now, or at least they
Yeah.
were in this.
Okay, they were
sixth.
in fourth, I think, the sim before.
They're 6-1-1 though. It's because of games.
Mhm.
Yeah, I shit on the fucking Pacific a bit. Every team in the West that's doing good right now is in the Pacific, so I'm wrong. I'm lying to you.
This is another weird case. What did you have for them last season, Drew?
Last season, they were 14th.
Who did the bottom couple of login is all?
That's me. I'm
Did you
finished.
hit finish?
Yep.
Okay.
14th in offense, 12th in defense, 15th in net with a 901.
I'm shocked
All
they're
right.
15th
Restored.
with the 1A 1B system. Let me get out first. Right now it's restored.
1A 1B works great in the regular season because you don't have the backup sims that just like force you to lose games. But in
Yeah.
the playoffs, you just never have the best goalie.
Yeah, we talked about it with the Rangers. Arizona, I think, is still that. I don't think they picked up a really
No,
high-end
Arizona's in the
goalie.
same exact spot. They sold a little bit, but they're the same roster basically.
It's Kolosov
Yeah.
and who else in net?
Let
Meso.
me see.
So,
Yes, still
Drew-
same exact tandem. Honestly, this is just about the same exact team, as last year. It's very similar. Still Caulfield, still Bolduc, Byfield, Linder, and
Their
Guy
centers suck.
down the middle. Yeah, Bolduc is fine, but I don't like him as a 1C. I'm the biggest Linder hater on the planet. I think
Yeah,
he's
Linder
a
sucks.
certified scrub.
That's
Linder is
another
Nicholas
thing.
Backstrom, so he's high PA, but he's low con, and he's can't shoot at all.
Yeah.
That's just another thing where I feel like it's your match line, right? Like which line is matching? Are you actually getting these high CA guys playing against shitters on the other side?
Yeah. They've gotten quite a bit out of Byfield, I will say. Last year, no other team has gotten the results they've gotten out of Byfield. He's
Nope.
legitimately playing like a top 6C.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced
Canadians
that he's
legend.
good.
Hell yeah. Lots of teams legends. He bounced, but
I also don't like the Coyotes prospects at all, which is weird for a team that's drafted so much, but they don't have any prospects I like. The top one is a Banajad regen, but he's a power center with 4 creativity.
Yeah, he's
Power
one of the
center's
guys he's one of the guys they got back in the Havila deal.
yeah.
They have a lot of power centers, though.
Yeah, the thing with Arizona, we kind of just talked about it with Winnipeg. I feel like this is a bit of a downswing team looking at it. I
Yeah.
don't love their prospects. We talked about Moser last season. He's getting old. His age is hitting him. He's not very good now.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
They're obviously their top end of their defense is still really good. They still have Luneau, Sova, Soderstrom. These are still really good players.
I like
And
Cantagalo
Luneau
a
will be good
lot.
forever.
Leave.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we had a discussion about Cantagalo in general. I'm not the biggest Cantagalo enjoyer, but I like a lot of their wingers. He's fine. Orard is pretty good as Orard is one of
Orard
the
is
best
really good
complementary
too.
guys in the
Well,
league.
I would gladly take Cantagayo.
Yeah, can I
Yeah,
have
I'd
He's
take him.
Quebecois. Come on.
I mean, he's look at his creativity and anticipation. I'm so hard.
Everything's 19 that you want. Right.
Cole Caulfield is still really good. Their wings are quite good. Their D is quite good. This feels like a bit of a repeat. If we just combine the Winnipeg and Dallas discussions, we get Arizona.
Yeah.
Except, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm just not that high in Arizona.
It's
I
funny
think
that you
I don't know.
mentioned wings and D-men. Grum has this deal where he believes that you build every team top down center goalie and forget about wings and D-men. You can punch them in any which way.
Yeah.
I buy wingers. I buy D-men. And I believe that if you have the right group of guys, you can make a team work around lesser C's, around, a tandem goalie, as long as you got a pair that's good enough. He'll never win a playoff series worth of shit, but
Yeah.
he'll be a 90-plus point game, a 90-plus point team every season.
And that's kind of what we've seen out of Arizona, right? They've
Pretty much.
been that. They've always been 90-ish points, or more. They're playoffs basically every year. It's
If
just
they
they
hadn't traded
rarely.
Havilland, they could win 2 or 3 playoff series a year.
Yeah.
Like Winnipeg with Wallstead.
Yeah.
Just win a few, right? Because
Right.
Arizona is like fine. They're one of the most. There's not many teams I look at in the league and I'm like, yeah, this is a fine team. Yeah, Arizona is fine. There's not even like the turnover from last year to this year is like barely anything. It's
Right.
the same roster, and the same roster just got swept, right? Like I
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know how much better they can do this year without changes, and I know they have picks. And I know they have been selling some guys. They have a lot of guys on the block. But yeah, I guess we'll see with Arizona. If they sell enough, they'll probably fall out of the playoffs. If they don't, they'll still be in.
They have some really good wingers that a lot of teams would want. So
Yeah, I'd pay I'd pay a lot for Rard. I'm gonna Rard sure.
So we
I
have
love the ride too.
some reservations
You
on
wanna
the
go out?
Arizona Coyotes roster.
Hey, you made that one last time.
It still works.
It
Uh,
still works.
Chicago Blackhawks. What do we think of them? They added LVP.
I think they've so if they were in a spot this offseason where they had no right play because they traded their first at the deadline last year for Brennan. So you can't like rebuild because you don't have your first.
Yes.
But they failed to get a goalie. So they were kind of boxed into a corner where they only had three garbage shitters. Like they had three absolute like both sub AHL level goalies. So you knew that you were gonna be like bottom 3 or bottom 5 in the league without a first. So you had to pay a first for a mid goalie and LDP, which was the right play to not tank for Alex, I think. To not tank
Yeah,
for Alex. But like you also paid a first for mid. Like you're not gonna. This is not how you build a contender. You're just like keeping yourself afloat. So they aren't like. That's not a good spot. Like they're not in a good spot, I don't think. But they kind of needed to do that. So, but they need to like now they have to hold on to what they have and just like cruise until they have firsts again, and then like try to actually like add to this team. I think.
I think they do realistically have like 2 years. Probably they make the playoffs both years, but don't really do anything. Is kind of how I view it. This is an old
Yeah.
team.
They're
Their
old.
prospects are kind of bad. I don't love their prospects.
Charles Hughes is good, but I don't like the rest of them.
They have okay centers with Brennan Cooley, Ziegler. I like their centers. I don't
Yeah, I'm a big
love
fan of
them.
Brendan actually.
Yeah, I like Brennan. I like Cooley. I'm a big fan of Cooley. This is my
I
guy.
like Cooley, but I think they overpaid him to the shit. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna pay him nearly this much, so I am perfectly content with this. It's not the worst contract ever. Yeah, they you're exactly right that they were in a bit of a catch-22 where they needed a goalie so bad that they just had to overpay for LDP because if everyone knows you're in a terrible spot, nobody's gonna help you.
yeah. And LDP is
Well-
always bad in the playoffs. Like he's the lowest mid-con goalie ever.
He won a
Yeah.
Stanley Cup. He was the goalie that was the one that won that final
What was
game.
his save percentage,
I think it
Drew?
was actually good that game. No.
In the
It was good
playoffs
in
last
that
year, he had
game.
an 898.
Oh, okay. So no.
That's
no.
respectable. That's decent, right?
That's very nice of you to say.
That's shit.
Underrated
decent.
saying about the Chicago
Okay,
Blackhawks here.
Grum
It's not
standards, that's
respectable.
shit.
That's
Any
shit.
guy who can get you 900 puts you in a chance to win if your offense is good enough.
He outdueled Poikinen. Got to at the end of the day, he outdueled Poikinen.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
Did
To
he
be
or
fair-
did he not?
To be totally fair, Chicago's offense probably not good enough
No.
Yes.
to
that's
win
the thing.
behind a 900.
They also
But-
have a $4.3 million in cap penalties for this season and next.
Yeah, and see, they didn't have a first this season. I don't know exactly what had happened there, but I can tell you Bugatti is kind of on a treadmill here and trying to make sure that he can not give away a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Which is the right play, but it's just unfortunate to be that spot.
He's
I
going to
think
be in
Brum
the
is
same
100%
spot next
right.
year.
Yeah, I think
No,
you're
I
on
agree.
you're
Yeah,
on a
I
treadmill
agree.
here. You
Yeah.
you're in the catch-22. Just tough it out until you have a first, and then you're like, okay, fuck this. Burn
I
it.
actually like the
So,
roster here more than the Jets and the Coyotes, though.
Yeah,
That's fair.
honestly,
Yeah.
out
Like
of
this,
the
like
West
skill-wise.
teams, I like this roster. I think they have a chance to
They feel like more than a wild card team only. Whereas the
Yeah,
Jets,
I think they're like
the
5th in the
Oilers,
West, like
the
round one exit.
Coyotes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Honestly, they
But
could.
like, I like Marceau and I like Thomason on the wings, and then I like Moore and I like Reichel. Kaliev is old,
Right.
but like still pretty. Like they have some solid talent, but they're just so old, and they're
Right.
not like elite. Like they don't have any like Rauchiala. They don't have any Pano Famis. Like they just don't have anything that's gonna make them
They're
like
going to
at
do
the
this
next
again
level.
next season, right? Like at some
Yeah.
point, they're just going to be like, all right, well, we're run it back. We've made the playoffs. We got swept. We won a game, whatever the fuck ever.
Yeah.
Everyone walks at the end of 2038, and we just burn it to the fucking ground.
Yes.
They're gonna end up like Boston right now, I feel like.
Yep, exactly.
It's a plan that kind of sucks to have to do because they got a
Yeah.
little pigeonholed this offseason by not
Yeah.
getting a goalie and not
Well,
having a first.
The thing is,
hoping
though, who was their
Go ahead,
goalie
Mike.
again? Hunter Jones? He was not old and he retired.
Nope.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
fucking retired
he
on
got
fucked.
hard with that. Yep.
He was like 34. Like, he wasn't
Yeah.
young, but the dude should have lasted at least 2 or 3 more years, you'd think.
Yeah, that
Agreed.
was their plan. Like they got fucked by the
Right.
dude just retiring randomly at 34,
If he didn't
35.
retire, they would have their 38 first still, and they could at least only do this for 1 year instead of 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think
So
they'll.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they can pull off similar shit to what we did this last offseason, where it's like we extended a couple of dudes and we're going to flip them, right? Like we flipped Ottinger. We
Yeah.
got back our return on investment on him. We didn't intend to keep him, but we extended him and flipped him. Similar to Eklund, I've had talks around him as well. We probably aren't going to get back the 2 firsts, right? Like that we paid for him originally, but we got like 3.5 seasons out of him. So whatever, we flip him. I'm
3
hoping they can
conference
do
finals
the
is not a
same
big.
thing at the end of 2038, right? Like LDP, extend him, flip him. I don't know when he's
Yeah.
expiring for sure, but if that's how it goes down, they get their return on investment. They tanked their picks. They didn't give away a lottery pick. They made the playoffs. Their GM rep goes up a little bit.
I think it's
They don't
important. Like, this is the
totally
kind of
suck.
team where you would sign like a 10-by-1, 10-by-2 contract in free agency just to
exactly.
like not be shit for a little bit longer.
So like
Yeah.
kind of like what Columbus did. They didn't need to do that. They had their
Yeah.
picks, but they wanted to pick up assets that they could flip, whether or not they sell them or not. You know, yeah, it sucks if
Yeah.
they can't sell them because then they don't tank their pick and get a lottery pick. But that's what you do when you're a team as bad as Chicago.
Thing is, they're not badness. The thing is, they are right up against the cap. Like they're pretty
True.
fucking close.
Yeah,
to
they
it.
had to lose Adam Fox this year, which really sucked. But they at least got Thomason for him. And I actually like. I don't know if this is unpopular or not because he's been a journeyman that no one wants. I think Thomason is really good.
Really good.
I
is
don't hate that
strong, but I
move.
think he's good. I
don't
say
think
so.
I don't think he's really good, but I don't hate the move.
Well, I think he like easily could be like a. I mean, this might be a. I don't know. This is a bold take. I believe this though. I'm gonna say it, even though it might sound crazy. This guy could score like 50 goals, like
Ooh.
20 on both shot and 17 stick handling, 18 creativity. Like all the
You'd
offensive
like to
things
think
are.
he could score 40 to 50 goals, yeah.
With like a good play, like
If you put him
If
on
you put
my
him on
team
the
and I get
right
him next
line,
to Yershov,
yeah,
like
yeah,
he's gonna
that's
score
fair.
50 goals.
That's fair.
yeah, I
Put
like
him with,
Thomas.
put him with a guy like Rautiala and Hughes, sure.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
he'll put up 50. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he's
seems like
making
that
no
kind of
money,
guy.
and he's just such a skilled like depth scoring winger that like, I mean he's like above depth. Like he's like a top 6 scoring winger. Like this guy's really good.
I
should
think that
be,
was a really
yeah.
slick move for a move that was obviously like we need to dump 10 million in cap. Like that
Yeah.
was so obviously a
He
cap dump
managed to
and a
get
good
like
asset.
something other than a third for Fox, which
Yeah.
is like actually
Yeah.
good. Like
Solid move.
I don't think this GM sucks. I don't
No,
think he's
I don't.
bad.
And it's hard to say because you don't know whether that was Bugatti who brought up that deal or whether it was the other GM who said, "Hey, I think this is a fair deal," right? Like it's hard to say
Yeah.
if a GM is doing another GM a solid. Like
he's
it's not
not-
that he's doing him a solid; he's just making him a fair move. You see a lot of
Alex
GMs who are,
doesn't do
like,
favors.
shicey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Alex
that's
doesn't.
fair.
He's not a
but-
bad GM.
Fair.
He's doing a great job for Pittsburgh and ENHL. Like he made them into a contender.
Yeah, no, and he
Bugatti?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, no, I don't think this is bad GMing at all. It's just like when you got this team, this is kind of what you inherited. And
Yeah.
I think it's fine to try to push the window. They've been competitive a couple of times. Like I don't think they've won a round, but they've hung in there a couple of times. I still like the roster. You're actually right. I might take them at third in the Central, honestly, over
Yeah.
Winnipeg. Because
I think they're better
just,
than the Jets.
yeah. Like, this is a perfectly fine team. It just kind of sucks to have to do that.
Yeah, it for sure does.
Like you said, it just comes down to Hunter Jones
Fucking
packing
you
up
over,
his
yeah.
skates and going, "Fuck you, I'm out."
Oh man, rip Hunter
Unfortunate.
Jones.
Shout out to Jordan for trying to trade him for a second when he was a backup at 24, 25 years old and nobody bought. And he was actually a good goalie. And should have been bought for a second, like Sheikle.
Who?
Yeah.
Who again?
Hunter Jones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I recall when Jordan had Hunter Jones and two other goalies. Like, he had a problem with having too many goalies. And he was like, somebody buy this guy. He's just a backup for me, but he's really good. He'll be a good starter. Just give him 50 plus starts and he'll show you. He was a good player.
Yeah, he was fine. He was a strange player, but he was perfectly fine.
Yeah. Worth a second for sure.
Shout out Hunter Jones. In memoriam. He died or something. I don't know.
Yeah, right. He died in a train wreck that was the Chicago Blackhawks.
Hey, come on. They're not that bad.
Joking. All right, who's next?
Drew, you're a segue guy.
I gotta head out.
Oh, see you.
Later, Brown.
I was saying stuff. I had my mic muted. All right,
Nice.
so Vancouver's next. 87 points is what they had last year. They were 20th in offense, 21st in defense. Check this out: 5th in net minding. Billsburger's
With
doing
Billy.
work. Yeah,
Whoa, what?
5th in net minding
Yeah.
last year. Yeah.
Yep.
Billy.
Billy was fine, yeah. But Billy played 74 games last
So that's
year.
probably
And
why
was
it's
5th.
so high, is because they didn't have those backup games killing you. Like,
They rode him like
I
a
mean,
horse, and he
that's-
slid a 913. Yeah.
That's fair, but yeah, he still had a 913 in 74 games.
Yeah.
For a guy who's supposedly kind of mid. That's impressive.
Shit. I mean, I was one of the biggest Billy haters on earth, but yeah, that was his best season last year.
mean, I was gonna say, I remember when Byron had him and he tried to sell him for a first, and the only buyer he got was Logan's dumbass.
Yeah, no,
Just saying.
Billy, he's doing pretty good this year too, although he got hurt for a bit, so they're running with Medrick Obey-Kubel, who is also a
Just
934.
killing
because,
it, you know? Why not?
Uh-huh. Sure. I mean, I like this guy as a prospect. I don't know if I 934. Early season things, you know how it is. But yeah, no, like Vancouver's last year they were worse and they still made the playoffs. So I expect them to make the playoffs again. Like,
Linus
realistically.
Berglund's pretty good, pretty awesome for no
Yep.
reason. I don't know why. Look at him. He's a center. Over
What
a point a
the
game.
fuck? What
I don't
the
get
fuck?
this shit, man. I don't get it, man.
This game sucks. This game sucks for sure.
I don't
What-
get it. Last year too, 65 points, 82 games.
I don't understand.
I don't understand Linus Berglund, man.
This is the most confusing player in the NHL. What?
65 points with a 645 AVR.
And then over a point a game this year. I mean, cool, buddy.
What was his plus minus? That's crazy.
He's a +5 this year. Last year he was a +5.
A +5 with
Putting up
70 plus
60
points.
65
Nice.
points. So that's
Yeah,
that's
65.
not ideal. But what's his face-offs? It's probably what's killing him, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why I was like, "What's his plus minus?" Because if his plus minus is anything in the plus, he should be at least a 6.5.
Face-offs. 45% last year. 38% this season.
That's still respectable, though, right? Like if you're a fourth or
Mm.
third line,
Hey,
Not for
match
first
center,
line.
No.
He's their first line center.
First
That's
line
not
center.
responsible for
I don't
first
know
line
how
center.
I don't know how he's getting 12 points in 10 games. But
I'll also say
fucking way to go,
this
buddy.
is one of the worst defensive centers in the NHL. Like, all the report cards, E- defense. Yep, that's about right.
Nice. Juicy.
He can't defend for shit. But you know what? He puts up points, I guess. And they have a lot of guys who I quite like. They have Giovanni Savage, who's like okay, a pretty decent young winger. They signed Bertucci in the offseason. I was fine with this. It's for a pretty long time, but I like Bertucci. I think he's quite good.
I loved him.
Yeah, they still got the Courtier.
Way back, Gus offer sheeted Bertucci from me for a no comp, and I didn't match it.
Oh my,
What?
that's
Did I
bad.
really?
Yeah, you did.
Hold on. Are you sure that wasn't Born?
Tristan
No,
Bertucci.
No.
he was Bertucci was on Montreal, and then he was on you.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've totally forgot. How long ago was that?
Fucking,
20,
that was like one of the first things I
26,
did
yeah.
because Bertucci was
Oh my gosh.
like 23,
Decade ago.
Yeah, like forever ago. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean,
No wonder I've forgotten.
shut up, Bertucci.
I can't even remember how many points you said he had last season, let alone 10
He had
in-game
20,
seasons ago.
20 points for me last season.
Yeah, he's nothing like crazy, but he's an NHLer. He's good defensively. He's one of those guys.
We just lost Angus.
And he left. He was like, "Fuck
God,
this! I don't want to hear
fuck
about Bertucci.
Tristan Bertucci.
Fuck Bertucci! And come on, just because he's like the most
I let him
Italian
walk.
sounding guy.
I
ever.
let him walk on an offer sheet for no comp, man.
Yeah. Ugh. I like
I
this
miss
team's
him.
defense for what it's worth. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
with Decourtier, Nordstrom, Bertucci, Gay as a top four. That's a pretty solid top four.
Definitely.
I'd be pretty happy with that. It's just this team, man. Like they got a lot of young guys. Nolan Crowder is like probably next year he's gonna step into the NHL and do really well. Danton Rossi is in a similar position. He might just step in and do pretty good. Juberg, yeah, they got a lot of good prospects. They've been picking pretty high. Caden LaRose is a guy who I really liked at this draft. So if he's a bust, I'm stupid.
Kiefer Yago's got a top 10 name in the league, I feel like. Kiefer Yago.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, my God. It's a shame he's kind of ass.
Right. But, Kiefer Yago, man.
He's Kiefer Yaga. Yeah, I don't know. This seems kind of weird
I feel
to
like
me.
Kiefer Yago as the first line center makes more sense to me than Linus
Berglund?
Berglund, just comparing attribute wise, not performance. I don't get performance with Linus Berglund, but just attribute wise.
Yeah, honestly, this team is like fine. This is another
Right.
fine team, but they feel like they're in a lot more of an upswing than a team like Arizona was. They have a lot of these young guys. If Abe Kubel is like this good normally, I mean, 5-game sample obviously, but he's a 934. This is a goalie prospect who I
good?
liked. If he's this, then okay, wow, good big win.
No, it's Ethan. Ethan's done a great job of acquiring a bunch of assets. He's been really on the prowl for young players. Up next, the Nashville Predators.
I see what you're doing. Who are kind of terrible this year.
Who are kind of terrible this year, and last year they were at an 85-point team, 19th in offense, 19th in defense, and 22nd in net finding.
Brewer is exhausted at 80%.
Without the game, it's hard for me to tell who can break down the big plus minuses in the summer, free agency, trades, whatever.
For Nashville?
Yeah.
Players in. They acquired Alex DeBrincat, who is still playing apparently.
Okay.
Ron
I liked
Tkachuk,
him on the Isles last year. He was all right.
Ron Tkachuk. There's not a lot of players here that I can pick. Out for players.
Don't pick up Ron Tkachuk. Yeah, their players out notably Tegan DesRoches, Tage Weiberg. It's me, the worst Weiberg, and Podkolzin.
Okay, so they
who
replaced
went back to Vancouver.
Podkolzin with DeBrincat, which is probably about a wash.
Who's
Yeah,
The Brink
I'd
Cats,
say
ooh,
Podkolzin is better
no.
at this point.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
the Brink Cats
Yeah.
physicals aren't there anymore. And
Yeah.
his shot
No,
isn't really there either.
Yeah, we just
I
talked
know.
about Vancouver. Podkolzin's killing it for them.
Yeah, the Brink Cats not.
Yeah, I know Byron tried to sell DeBrincat last season and got no bites.
Because he's decrepit. Yeah, he's
I
a
mean,
little
he
bit
was
old.
still solid in my opinion last season. Like he would at least be worth a couple of thirds and maybe a prospect for a team. Maybe he
It
made too
was
much
one of the
money. It's hard to say.
it was one of the worst sellers markets like ever last year. To be
Yeah, you're
fair, it
not
was really
wrong.
bad.
Yeah,
Honestly, this team is a lot worse. Well, why are they so bad this year? I guess it's a sample size thing. I expect them to be like competent. Looking at this roster, it's
bubble
not.
team at the
Yeah,
worst. Yeah,
yeah, like this should be a bubble team. Fuck,
yeah.
they're getting good goaltending. Del Gaizo's good. Allard is still performing as probably as they hoped when they picked him up. He's been fine. Um,
I mean,
lots of guys.
when you see teams like the Canucks and the Flames overproducing, it's hard to wonder why this team is not producing after they picked up Allard at the deadline last season. You'd think they'd be better.
Yeah, and they don't have the fucking boat anchor that's Mikhail Rabby bringing down
Yeah,
their goaltending.
everything.
Guerrero's playing really good.
Yep.
They had a lot of contracts expiring at the end of this season. David Ferentz, Golubov, Tomasino, Del Gaizo, Weiberg, all are expiring this year, and all are over $4.5 million.
What an interesting position Colton's in. Honestly,
Give them a chance to rebuild.
he could really take this in one of two directions, right? He could just say fuck it and rebuild, or he could try to push this team because I
Yeah, I think
think
it's a
there's
solid
something
team.
here.
I agree. Like they made noise last season.
Leo Goyer and Luke Cortiswan, are the
Poisson.
Cortiswan,
Cortisone shot.
Cortisone.
Yeah.
Those are the two highest paid players for that are contracts don't expire this season, but
Well,
expire
fuck,
more
you're
than
in good
that.
shape then.
And
Yeah.
Cortisone gets paid 2.5, and Goyer
Yeah.
gets 3.7. And
I was
those are
gonna
your
say you're in
highest.
great. Like, I'm sure there's a team out there who would flip long-term contracts who are better for multiple short-term contracts for the depth and the expiring contracts. Like, you could easily turn that team into, at worst, a bubble team, like 7-8 wild card.
There's a lot. This is one of the most interesting teams we've gone over so far for me because Colton really could choose to take this team in any direction. You've
You
got tons of options.
You probably don't
Like,
need to add a lot of like assets, right? Like first, second round picks to actually get something with all those expiring contracts. Like
yeah,
go find a team who has long-term contracts they don't want, whose players are better. Trade your expirings and a prospect and a late like mid pick, like fourth round, third round. Upgrade your team.
you could do
Be
that,
good for
or you
another
could
2 to
just
3
rebuild.
seasons.
You
Or
could
you can
just
just rebuild.
rebuild.
Yeah.
Or you
Right.
You
Like
have
you say,
tear it
tons of
down.
options.
yeah.
Like, if you're Nashville, obviously this is not the start you wanted. And last, I fully expected them to be in the playoffs. Given last year, they really did only miss off the back
Same.
of Mikhail Rabby in the AGM, the Wild Adventures. But yeah, this is a team with like a pretty good prospect pool. It's like fine. They have a lot of guys I
It's
like. I
fine.
like Varger. I like Mallory, and I like Cannell. But
I like Farger a lot.
yeah, they really have the world at their hands. Like, despite how bad this start is, there's a lot of places you could take this.
If there's
I'd
any
be
guys in
very
their
curious.
if there's any guys in their early 30s who are on the block, like 31, 32, who have 3-4 year term that nobody wants because of the term, go get them.
Yeah,
Like shit, you can shelter those young guys and bring them up and give them a line mate to play with, or a player who can help boost them, carry a line, make the playoffs this year. maybe next year. If not, you've got your picks.
Honestly, this team, I suppose the biggest weakness on this roster is center depth, as it is for many a team. Because
Sure.
realistically, they have like what 2.5 good centers. I like Weiberg and I like Allard. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Get a number
but
2C and put Wyberg 3C.
yeah, fuck, Weiberg is like the ideal 3C to
Yeah.
exist ever. He's like,
Move Allard to your top C.
yeah, fuck, I think he could do it.
Their
Yeah,
only 2 wins this season so far were against the Oilers and the Devils, and they've lost to the Lightning twice so far this season.
Woof. That's tough.
okay.
And neither
They
of
could
them
have
were
won one
like,
of those games. They'd be in
close
shape.
games. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's strange. I expect them to pick it up. This is obviously just October. I really expect them to pick it up. But I think Colton could really easily just say, if they continue to play bad, you kind of can just say fuck it and be like, you know what, I'm a seller. You have a ton of assets to sell if you want,
Yeah. And
or
just the same,
you could
like,
just buy around this. It's up to him.
just the same, like all those expiring players who you could flip for long-term contracts that people want to get out from under. You could flip those expiring contracts for people who don't want to keep them long-term, that just want an upgrade and get a couple picks and build your
Just want a
pool.
rental.
You
Yeah,
could
like
really milk the cow of the expiring contracts. Anyway, speaking of milking cows, Moo, your Minnesota Wild are up next.
Ooh,
Oh my
that
God.
was a
That was a
clever one.
slick
I had
transition.
no idea where you were going. Interesting.
I did
Hell
not
yeah.
either.
This year you're sick, but last year 72 points. Let's see, 23rd in offense, 13th in defense, 25th in net minding with an 885.
Yeah.
Got a
That
hat.
seems about right. Rip Gagan in memoriam. He's
memoriam.
still
Yeah,
in the
Rip
league. He's in
Gagan, the
there.
920 save
920,
percentage,
getting paid
Islander,
5
goat.
million forever. Yeah, no, the team's better this year. A lot of the gradual process of bringing up young guys will just continue to make the team better as time goes on. Like McNicholas has stepped in and he's been pretty fucking solid. To Taran is kind of shooting the lights out. He's 33 shots in 8 games. Like, what the fuck? Tyler I picked up in the offseason. He's been good. Draisaitl came back. Yeah, like I don't expect to keep this pace up for what it's worth. Carter Hart's been 919 so far, pretty fucking solid. He probably falls off a bit from that.
I actually expect that to come up a little bit, right? Like 920 to 920.
You think so for Carter Hart?
Aging,
He was at a
falling physicals.
he ended at a 910 for me last season.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be like a
Yikes.
915 if I were to call it. But like,
I don't
yeah,
think-
no,
I don't think that high.
yeah, lower. All
I
right.
think 905.
Damn, harsh.
Oh,
Don't worry, Milo Zedek's got this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's obviously a mostly young team. I want to make the playoffs because I want to get a lot of these young guys some playoff experience. But
Yep.
if I can't, then I'll just sell. Right? Like
That's where I
have a lot of
was when I
assets.
scorched earth it, right? Like I was trying to get, I just wanted to make the playoffs. And even if it was 5 games, if I won one playoff game and got my guys 5 games of playoff experience, I was happy.
Yeah.
So I've been in that boat. It puts you in a little better position when you're in the spot you're in, whereas like you're a top 4, top 6 seed, and maybe you can get home ice advantage. Maybe you
It
can get
would
6
be a
games,
miracle.
7 games. I think you're in a better spot than I was at that point. So, like, if you can find a second, third round pick addition for, I don't know what your biggest weakness is. If it's defensive depth, if it's a top 6 winger and you can push a winger down. If it's sheltering a center to get him growth, like find that one addition that can really help you make it happen.
Yeah. My main issue I think is probably
Center depth.
winger or center depth. Just forward depth in general is
Sure.
super shallow on my roster.
That's pretty generic, right? Like
yeah,
most
it's
teams have a similar issue.
yeah. It's I'm not too concerned with this season. If I do anything more than like be respectable, I'm playing with house money. Playoffs is absolute house money.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
You sound like the 2032 Sharks.
yeah, I don't have a Chambers or a Raziella. I
Well,
have
at the point, I
Gidlund.
didn't have Chambers either. I had
True.
Raziel, and that was it. And I didn't think he was it until he had that fucking breakout season. So,
Maybe I get that out of like Gidlund at some point. God knows.
You gotta
Yeah,
get
yeah, you never know.
you gotta get Vilio to stop playing games for other teams, eh?
yeah, he's defective. He's very defective. I don't know. He's point a game somewhere. I don't know where the fuck it is, but it's somewhere.
It's happening.
He's killing it, I guess. Question mark. I don't know.
He's out on loan, but also still in Minnesota somehow.
There's two of them. He is a twin. Norlander notably hasn't actually played a game for me. I picked him up. He was on IR. I think this will help with defensive depth quite a bit because I'm playing fucking idiots right now. Like Madden Steen is the worst player on this planet.
Hey, man,
Why haven't
I know that name.
Why haven't we talked about a Stenman deal then?
Because he's really expensive. He's like, you're not gonna sell his ass for less than a first.
I mean, yeah, but you've got a first, and you don't need it. So hook it up,
I
dude.
would like it. Well, hey, if I'm gonna ask you for anything, it's gonna be Hughes. But yeah, realistically, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of house money. I'm befuddled that I'm doing as well as I am.
The West is kind of weird right now, so stick it out for another month, see what happens the end of November, early December, and
You don't
you
need to
never
make your
know. Maybe that
decision
addition
now.
falls right into your lap.
Yeah, go from there. I
Yep.
get out from under Fiala's extremely terrible contract next season. Although for some reason he's having the best season of his career at age like 50.
40, yeah.
Why is he even on your NHL team if it's so bad? Just waive him.
No.
I mean,
He's-
honestly, he's like the same as Draisaitl right now.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
that's if you're getting production out of him, then I understand. But if it's like a boat anchor, just
It's
waive him.
completely fine. I do get production out of him. It's just when I was a contender, I signed to. This is the worst thing I did on GGHL. I was like, I could be a little loosey goosey with the cap. I'll sign Fiala to 10x5. Why did I do that shit?
Yeah,
Why the fuck did I do that?
that's
Yeah.
funny because Fiala was a point of discussion of mine with the prior GM.
Oh yeah.
He turned down a really good trade offer that I gave him and went ahead and signed him to a ludicrous contract,
And then I signed him to another.
and then
ludicrous
you
one.
signed him to another extension that, yeah, if he wasn't on your team, you wouldn't have had to sign him to that contract. So
True. Damn you, Nathan. No,
just
yeah,
blame Nathan. You're good.
Yeah. In fact, I'm a perfect GM. It's all Nathan's fault that I've
Yeah,
never
ex-
done anything wrong.
I like your style, dude.
All right. I don't really have a transition for this one. St. Louis is next. The 64 points last year, 11th in offense, 22nd in defense, last in net minding with an 874, and that's probably a McNamara special.
Oh yeah.
The
Him and
GM
Alan
who went
Olfert.
from cap blues to singing the blues.
Hey, there we go. Yep. Big additions for them this year. Players in. Obviously a GM in
What?
first.
GM in first.
Do that first. After that, they got Kirby Doc, Hamrack coming from the Avs to the Blues.
Hold on. Now since Chris went from Avs GM to Blues GM with the same in-game GM, does it actually count? Does it show as Old Steady in
No,
on the
it
transactions?
doesn't. Not on
No.
transactions. If
Oh,
doesn't
that's
stat
unfortunate.
in,
That'd
I
be
think.
epic.
I think
That's
it
like the
doesn't
biggest
stat
player.
in.
That's the biggest staff in ever.
Oh no, it doesn't even in Stefan.
No,
well.
that's a bummer.
Yeah,
That is too
this
bad.
is a perfectly like. I mean, you're just trying to be respectable at this point, right? You have a billion first. You had a pretty good draft. You got Schneider, who, being a goalie, will take a fair chunk of time, but obviously looks good.
Dude, I
Sarsland
think he
looks
had
good.
a stellar draft. Adding those picks at the end of the first and picking who he did, awesome.
Yeah. But this is always a slow build. I think he did good to pick up these like really old defensemen. Your Ekblad, your fucking Heiskanen, the guys
Yeah.
like this trade UFA might as well, right? They're overpaid to
Yeah.
fuck. Who cares? You're kind
Might
of
as well,
trash.
right?
Well, and
Yeah.
Chris has always been an advocate of I can find whatever fucking defenseman I want in a UFA.
Yeah.
I don't need a fourth D man, a fifth D man. I'll find some dude who's old as fuck who nobody cares about for $1 million in UFA.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me that he went that route.
Yeah. He picked up John Yves Doyle, my favorite guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Great pickup.
lots of guys.
It cost
that
him literally what Cam paid for him. He paid a third. Cam paid a
Yeah.
third.
Yep.
Yep.
This they look more respectable than they did before a lot of these offseason moves, particularly
For sure.
because of goaltending, I think. Portillo,
Yep.
Hamrack, neither of them are crazy, but as a tandem, I think this will get you pretty
You don't
effective
hate it.
goaltending.
70 points, probably.
Yeah,
60 to 70 points, easy.
60 probably. Yeah,
They
like
were
Yeah.
at
I'd
64
say,
last season. So how many points do you think they added into the season?
yeah, over under 64.5.
You know,
Over.
Under.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go
I'm gonna
68. Almost 70.
No, I'm gonna go under just because I hate their forwards. I
That's fair.
really.
interesting. So
That's
you think
fair.
they got worse?
But if you
Yes, because the thing is, last year their numbers are inflated by the fact that they had a lot of those players
Right.
until like
And then
December. They were
fair.
good until like January,
And
and
then
then
Logan
they sold
right.
everybody, and then they were
yeah,
trash. Like their numbers last year are kind of tale of two seasons. You have Eichel Milmore, and then you don't have Eichel Milmore. Well, you're trash now. Ta-da!
well, that was kind of Logan's plan,
Oh, absolutely,
right?
like 100.
Like he
percent
wanted to deal in December, January, early February, and just tank and get a good pick.
Got Schneider out of it. Works.
Yeah, I honestly think Chris took the the blueprint, or if you would like the
blueprint.
scheme, the plan, and magnified it. Right, like yeah, your plan might have been okay, but here I'm gonna zone in on this and watch this work.
Yeah.
And he's gonna go from a 6-year rebuild to a 3-year rebuild.
Probably. This will still be a while though. They've went for a lot of like reclamation projects. Your Archer, Garreton.
And
Yeah,
people are gonna buy those.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Doc, I expect to go to somebody at the deadline. I'm shocked he's in the NHL actually.
I punted Mazier's into the sun after he fucked me in the playoffs.
Yep, Mazier's for Barbero and Soderlund. Yeah, they really did clean house. Both Logan and Chris, they kind of combo did that shit. Now there's basically no players left from 2 years ago. Like this is an entirely different roster from literally 2 years ago. I think there's one player in common. So
Who's
God
that?
knows. I think have they had Walsh the whole time? No, they haven't. They signed this guy out of fucking Bratislava. No, I think it's literally an entirely different team. I think there's
I'm pretty sure
Vinals.
there's nobody left
Vinals.
from the
There's one
Logan
guy.
era. And if
Morelli.
that's the case, that's Chris at work.
Yeah.
Morelli.
It's
I don't want any of your bombs, dude.
no Logan sold most of his guys, to be fair. Like he really
did.
sent out he blew it up, and so the team has 5 firsts this year. Like by a combination effort, they have 5 firsts this year. So yeah, I mean,
I
you're
heard from a
bad, you're
birdie
fine
that
at the.
Chris really likes this draft, so buy your 2037 firsts while they're available.
Yeah.
I think he's going to clean house again, and we're going to see a Blues team in 2039, 2040 that we're going to go, where the fuck did this team come from?
Yeah, I'd say 2040 is probably when they'll really come into their own. I think this is going to be a bit of a slow build, mostly. Even though the 1A 1B thing is kind of functional, for now, Portillo's getting very old, and Hamrack is like barely a starter. Like once they can get Schneider getting games, I feel like this team will be like this is a perfect pick for them. He fits the long timeline. Like the timeline is obviously long for them, and it's long for first round goalie. So fuck it, right? He should be good by the time they're good.
Like
But
Superior
yeah,
State University.
sure.
PA State University? Is that where you're going with that?
Next is the Anaheim Ducks, another Logan catastrophe.
This one is worse, to be fair, because at least he had like a plan with St. Louis.
Fair. But I
Well,
mean, this also has had some work done with it with Jordan's.
to be fair, we're a year or two. Are we 2 years ahead here? Was Anaheim given 2 years? Was he 2 years in St. Louis before?
I think something like that.
Yeah.
Like
So
4 years, something like that.
Well, I think Jordan has had 2 years earlier
Probably.
than Chris
Probably.
had. So
Yeah.
I think he's got a shot here to be ahead of that mark. I really, really like what Anaheim has done with their drafts and trades. I think they have excellent prospects who are a little bit ahead of the mark. You're looking at 21, 22-year-old guys who are coming up in the A and will make an impact this year at the absolute earliest. Next year, maybe, but 2040 at the absolute latest. Like,
Yeah. Looking
I
at
don't know what
this
his goalie
team,
situation looks like, but
well, his goalie situation is basically Vyronen needs to be ready like very soon because Vyronen is like a high end goalie prospect that is not ready yet because he's 21. So
makes sense.
give it a little bit. By the time, similar to what I was talking about with St. Louis, by the time Anaheim as a roster is ready, Vyronen should be ready. But right now, they're running Nashville legend Mikhail Rabby to lose them some games.
I like Rabby a lot. I feel like if he had a better role, he might actually be a good goalie.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
I know.
He's
Yeah,
trash.
I know he was the Nashville ruiner of dreams last season, but I feel like he could be at absolute worst a serviceable backup who plays 12 games for you, 15 games for you,
Yeah.
and wins half of them. Maybe if your team is good.
Oh, Vyronen's been their starter this year. He's played 6 games.
Honestly, I don't really hate that. I'd probably put Rasky in, right? But like,
I mean,
especially since Rasky has all of the money in the world.
yeah.
You've got to pick and choose your battles. You've got to
Right.
say, okay, well, Rabby's playing the lesser teams. He's playing 2 bad teams and 1 good team this sim. I'm going to put him in this sim. Like, that's kind of what we tried to do with Tierney. Like, we put him in the first sim, and I was like, okay, Calgary can't be this good, right? Like, we got 50 shots on Calgary in that game and lost that fucking game. And it wasn't Tierney's fault. It's because we missed on 50 shots.
Yeah.
So, like, you just put him in the right position to succeed and hope that he wins you at least as many games as he loses you.
Yeah.
And maybe you got a shot. But
realistically, Anaheim is not trying to win this year. I think they could have pushed to try, but I don't think they did. They're content to just wait a little bit longer.
1 more season to retool. Yep.
Yeah, Vyronen and Miller Brown are both in the NHL. Oh, Davidson is too. They're trying a lot of these young guys. I expect it to be one of those things where if they can't hang, they'll just go back to the A to kill it, and they'll just play some fucking idiots instead. But yeah, like so far, none of their rookies are really doing that good, so I expect a lot of them to go back down. Um, Vironin in particular, I think he's probably better served in the AHL at this point. He's
That's
not been
something
very good.
Jordan is really great at understanding morale, understanding form. Like this guy isn't up to form, his morale's dipping. I'm sending him down, right? Like
Yep.
finding a suitable replacement, a guy whose morale is high enough that he can bring him up, and if his morale tanks, he's just not ready. So I have a lot of faith in Jordan's abilities to really understand like readiness, guys' capabilities, still like maintaining that low enough.
Oh no.
Expect these guys to finish with like sixth, seventh worst record in the league and have a chance to get in that top four.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they're underperforming a little bit so far. They should be probably like 11th in the West if I were to predict it.
Probably by design.
Yeah. I mean, if you're any time that you're a team and you're like, okay, we want to rebuild for a bit more, you're not going to cry about losing a few extra games. Like, oh, tough. They're technically below ratio right now. Something weird about Anaheim I've noticed. Last year their penalty kill was like 61%, and this year it's 58 so far.
That's not good.
I don't know what's with it. Like, is whoever's in charge of their penalty kill should be shot out of a cannon? Like, what the fuck is he doing?
I wonder if he's
And they're
got
taking a lot of
their
penalties too.
practice schedule on power play.
Maybe.
I wonder if he's working on offensive skills and just totally neglecting the defense.
It wouldn't be that crazy to think because yeah, their power play has been or penalty kill rather has been consistently trash, like complete trash. 61 is so egregious. Like that's crazy.
That's insane. I feel like that's something we've kind of skipped over. Is something I kind of looked at when I was browsing the current standings. Is like teams, special teams, and where they're at.
Yeah,
But we haven't talked about it all.
Early season's
Early
a little
season stuff.
funky.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Chicago hasn't let in a power play goal so far. They're at 100% PK. Like I don't know how long that's lasting. Shit like that, right?
The only two Ducks wins are shootout wins.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
That's insane.
That's so funny.
One of those against us.
I mean, let's see who they won. They beat the Wild in a shootout.
Fuck you, god damn it.
And they beat the Avalanche in a shootout.
They could go like how they were in real life this year. I think in real life, Anaheim didn't win a regular season game until like they were like 25 games in.
Yeah, regulation. It was till like December. Yeah, it was really bad. Hey, maybe we're about to end October.
They actually did deserve to win the Minnesota game, though. 45 shots on goal to 26.
No. You don't know. Right, so maybe my team's overperforming a touch. Yeah, I don't know. Anaheim is
not doing
kind of. Yeah, they're rebuilding. Like they could have tried to push. They were in a similar position to me in the off season, and I like picked up a center, and they were like, "No, we'll just wait a year." Like it's philosophy essentially. Like, what would you rather do? And to be honest, Jordan's probably right. I just don't like being bad.
That's true. With this porous of a defense, I guess you could say they're leaking oil.
We're really.
Oh yeah, really corny. Edmonton's next.
Indeed.
Last year they were 45 points, 26th in offense, 28th in defense, 29th in goaltending with an .879 save percentage.
And that's why they paid a fucking shitload for Frank Murda.
Yeah.
Who's actually doing pretty good.
Quite good, 9-14.
Yeah,
they paid a ton. Like Jezik got waived by the Capitals, but I think that's even a legitimate asset, and he was kind of a throw-in. Chibasov, 2 firsts, 1 is protected, 2 seconds. Like, yeah, this is a haul for Murda. So I feel like if you're the Oilers, you might have been expecting like a bubble kind of team. They should be in a similar spot to me in this season, I believe, is kind of what I expect. Ninth, 10th, 8th in the West kind of thing. Especially if Murda keeps playing at a fucking 9-14. That's pretty handy.
And right
But
now they're just 2 points out.
yeah. And similarly, I view this team's current situation as very similar to mine because if it goes south, just sell. Like they have a lot of 1-year deals, a lot of expiring guys, older guys that they can just sell. It's not too hard, or not even the guys on 1-year deals. Maybe you sell like a Marjala or somebody like this. You got lots of options with this team.
Bernard Docker is expiring right now. It's a
He's
big
getting a
contract.
shitload of money.
Shitload of money, yes, big contract. But in being that, so maybe it has to be closer to the deadline if you do it. But
Yeah.
I mean, Seth Bernard Docker's still a pretty sick player at 35. Alberta
Yeah.
boy.
Hell yeah, Beck. Is Canmore near to Albert or Edmonton or Calgary?
He
I don't
used to
know.
play for Calgary too.
Oh hell yeah, he's been on both sides.
Son,
Canmore is Calgary.
Michael Fisher. First year, he's not played for the Kings.
Oh hell yeah, super late pick. That's an actual NHLer, 7th rounder.
7th rounder. Kings
Yep,
legend.
they picked up basically an entire decor in the offseason. Their decor last year was very bad, and they picked up a full decor. Lindner, Bernard Docker. I think Gooley was also this offseason.
Yeah, Gooley was this offseason.
Fisher. They picked up a goalie. Molu's their fucking backup, but last year he was like their full-time starter, and he's not a full-time starter.
Nope.
he's just not that. Yeah, I don't know. This team looks respectable to me. Like they should be able to get to that point of respectability, and I wouldn't be particularly shocked if they sneak in. Probably not. I'm leaning to no. Probably like 9th, 10th in the East. But if you're the Oilers, are you crying about that? That's a success of a season.
How many
In the
points do you
East.
think they added regular season wise? You know, they were at 45 last season. Do you think they added, I don't know, what, 45 more points?
Probably like 40, yeah. Like like 40 points, give or take. Maybe like 35. I wouldn't be shocked if they're like an 80, 85 point team. That seems about right to me. Um, they just fired their coach, interestingly. Like just now.
No, just
Doug
now.
Waite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jesus, he's been there forever. But yeah,
They can get Mike Yo.
Oh boy.
He's assistant coach. Who when Mike Yo's your assistant coach, you know exactly what that's gonna be.
You know what time it is. Bring him in to that first overall. Bring him in, then fire his ass. That's the
Exactly.
secret trick.
Every time you fire Mike Yo, they've gone to win the Stanley Cup. So
It's that easy. You literally just have to fire him.
Alrighty. Speaking of getting firing players, the Calgary Flames.
Hey. How haven't they lost in regulation yet? What?
Voodoo, wizardry, and bullshit.
That's about right.
Right. That's my best guess, honestly. Brant Heim. That's been great combo. Both over a point a game. Last year they were a 44-point team. Last, right? They were dog shit. To put it nicely, that might be a little offensive.
They were
to dog
deliberately
shit.
losing a lot of games, yeah.
Right.
They were riding that first line.
Yeah, their first line and Lopez are basically why they're winning so many games. Lopez is a 946 and he's played every game. So
they have one minus player, and that's Jared Condon.
Legend. Yeah, I mean, what a befuddling circumstance, really. A lot of these guys are like proven not excellent players. Like they got rookies. We probably could have spent more time on the rookies on a lot of teams, but like yeah,
Right.
Caden Doherty has stepped in at age 19. This is like draft +1, and he's already in the NHL putting up pretty good numbers. And his comp is Turek. Like yeah, this is a good prospect, I think.
Doing well, especially with only 4 creativity.
Oh my god, he's 4. Jesus. What a
That's weird, right?
what? He's like normal anticipation. What? Okay. Yeah, they got Gredzov last draft. They have Buffalo on the up and coming still. Billy Knight. They got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of really good prospects. Like this is if you're a team looking to compete in the West in like 4 years, like maybe exactly me, I am fucking horrified about Calgary. Like
Calgary.
Jesus Christ.
I'm concerned
They
what their goaltending is going to be in the future, right?
Theory looks good though.
Theory.
Like
Oh
they
yeah,
even
of
have
course.
a good
Theory. No
prospect.
shit. Yeah, theory. What am I thinking?
They have a good prospect at every fucking position. Like
Of course they do.
crazy,
They have
really.
Alexander Ovechkin, by the way.
Of course, my good friend Alexander Ovechkin playing in Kansas City. I love this dude. No, yeah, I this year if you do anything as Calgary, fucking house money, like completely house money. You really. I don't think they were expecting to do that good. Dude, they re-signed Sadiq Yorofeyev.
To not win games.
Yeah, he's their backup plan if they need to lose again. But you know what? If you make the playoffs, fucking pleasant surprise. Angelo McMillan's a young player in the NHL too. Yeah, they got a young roster. Fuck man, like this.
They have a lot of young
Yo,
guys and they have a lot of old guys.
yeah, that old blend where
Werenski,
the
Barty,
standard,
Harley, right?
yeah, the
Yolt.
standard old team blend, yeah, or young rebuilding team blend where you just rookies and 40-year-olds. Fuck it.
All right.
Honestly, the biggest surprise though, how the Johnny Brandt? What? What the fuck?
Yeah,
Johnny
that
Bravo.
he's playing in between Heim and Coronado.
But like, still, what? This is the most points I've seen a defensive center put up like all season. Like, what is this shit? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's absolute house money in Calgary. I kind of like their defense. I mean, I don't expect them to keep up the fucking ridiculous pace they're on. Frankly, I expect them to fall off quite a bit to like 12th in the West. I think this is just a kind of an early season bender, but
Shots wise, they are a top 10 offense and top 20 in defense. So
what the fuck?
respectable. First
Yeah,
in save percentage with a 939.
yeah, fucking Lopez is.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah,
Lopez is not that. And Johnny Brandt being point per game, I swear to God, there's
Isn't gonna
no way
stay.
that's
Isn't gonna
sustainable. Like
stay.
that's
No.
fake. Lots of things about that team that are probably going to come down, but you know what? They were deliberately losing a ton of games last season, so to be even respectable is a pretty big win.
And the thing is, they're banking points now, So like, even if they drop off substantially, they still have what? How many points they have now? 16 points that they've collected already. Yeah. 16 points. Like that's already a third of the amount of points they had in the entirety of last season. And we're 9 games in. Right, and we're 9 games in. Like,
Jesus, yeah, it's goofy what they're doing right now. But yeah, no, like they've basically turned over like 90% of the team. This is mostly a new look team. They picked up a lot of guys. Uh, really, they've got like 5 guys in common from last year's team. It's not much. So fuck, maybe it is actually just a good team, right? It really is a new look, like 100%. There's not much left. Johnny Brandt, man.
Johnny Brandt, we don't understand Johnny Brandt. Breakout player of the year so far. It's a little too early to start that watch, but 9 games in,
9 games in, 9 points in. Fucking Johnny Brandt. What the fuck?
Actually, how many? Right, he has 86 points on his career, so that means he had 77 points in his career before this season. Does he finish more points this season than he has in his entire career in total before
No,
this.
no. Unfortunately, he's played too many games and scored too many points for that. I think you know what? I think he probably ends as like a 60-point center. I think, man, I guess Heim's just that good, right? Like that Heim Coronado winger pair is just that good. And like, obviously, they don't really care to compete. Really, they're still selling guys like Heim.
Cutie, right?
Yeah, they just posted them in the trade block. Moransky's on the market. They're perfectly willing to trade all these guys. God knows with Calgary, they're fuck it. You're rebuilding. And you have probably the best prospect pool in the league. Like, I don't even think probably. Honestly, this is a ridiculous prospect pool.
And that's the West.
That is the West. So who have you got coming out of the West?
I'll go first. Give me the Kings. Give me the. Or we want to say what? One person come out of the West entirely. We're going to say like our eight
Conference
teams to make
finals.
the conference finals. Okay. Give me a.
Actually,
Kings.
let's say playoffs. Let's say playoffs. Fuck it.
I'll name all the teams we want to make playoffs. Right. All right. Give me the Kings. Give me the Wild. Give me the Jets. Give me the Hawks. Give me the Avs. Give me the Sharks. 8, if I can count right. Oh, give me the Stars. That's 8 there.
All right, Joe, you got something in mind?
For Pacific, I'm probably going to say me, Sharks, Arizona, and then probably Minnesota, Dallas, Chicago, Jets, and Colorado.
Damn. Central powerhouse.
Powerhouse.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna be the dissenter and say I won't make the playoffs. Pacific, I've got LA, San Jose, and I'll say Vancouver in that 3 seed. In the Central, my top 3 would be, I think Colorado comes back and takes that, then Dallas, then Chicago. My wild cards are probably, I think Calgary has just banked a fuckload of points, so they're probably gonna make it into that wild card spot. And let's say Winnipeg.
Setting expectations real low for yourself, so you can just tiptoe over them. I like the strategy
Yeah,
there, Moo.
I really don't think I'm going to make the playoffs. I really don't.
And then to come out of the West, I'm going to take the Kings out of the West entirely.
Me too.
This year.
Over the Av conference.
Oh,
finals,
over the Avs. Oh, let's go. Yeah.
You don't want to say anything. No comment.
No jinxing.
No.
I jinx you in the off season when I hit that Kings react.
All right. So we good? All righty.
That hell yeah.
Right,
That was the West.
Woo-woo.